Welcome everybody to your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits, and I let you know how they're going to be impacting you, specifically your natal suns. Now, how is this different from a traditional horoscopes? Well, traditional horoscopes are created using the house system with this specific zodiac sign at the top of the house. So horoscopes are actually in the position of the first house. So horoscopes for Scorpio are drawn by putting Scorpio or analyzing the chart from the perspective of Scorpio being at the first house position. So it's much more accurate for horoscopes to be used for ascendant signs, because that's actually what they're for. The horoscopes are created for ascendant signs. Now, prior to about 150 years ago, ascendant signs used to be the zodiac sign that everybody identified as. But as our modern world changed and individuality became far more sort of perceived as important, we started focusing a lot more on the sun sign, which is fine. Perspectives change, but ultimately what didn't change was creating horoscopes from using the house system from the perspective of the first house ascendant. And this is a big issue because that skews the entire chart. If you're making a chart placing a zodiac sign at the first house position, you're actually speaking to the individuals who have that as their rising sign or their ascendant sign. They both mean the same thing. But horoscopes started to be advertised to people with the sun sign because it was based on their birthday, and your birthday is your sun sign location. So the astrology was being drawn up and configured for the rising sign, but it was being advertised, distributed, and spoken as if it was for the people with that sun sign or that birthday, making them complete junk and completely inaccurate. This astrology is for specifically your sun sign. I am going to analyze the charts based on where your natal suns are placed and the aspects that are forming to other planets based on where your natal sun is located and what that means for you every week. That's what makes these forecasts different and far more accurate than traditional horoscopes. Based on the estimated span of your birthdays, I'll be able to tell you what is impacting your natal sun, what is aspecting your natal sun in particular, and what that means for your bottom line every day. I will review first the big stuff, the charts for the week that are impacting or setting the stage for the global energy. And then I'll break everything down into zodiac specific information or energies that you should be aware of. And I will timestamp that so that you can get right to whatever zodiac sign you're curious about. And I'll break things down even further into the 3 decans of that zodiac sign. A decan is a group of 10 degrees. That's what it is. And it is that 10-degree point that makes or breaks an aspect. So in astrology, an aspect is the relationship formed between two planets or planetary bodies based on the angle that they have to each other in the zodiac at that time. And it's that 10-degree toggle point where you either have the angle or you're moving into a different kind of aspect because the angle is too small or too great. So it really is that 10-degree point that is kind of particularly special when determining aspects. Now, if your birthdays sit between 2 decans, it all comes down to the degree. It's not even the decan in particular. The decan is just a tool that makes it easier for us to do general readings. But it's really the angle that is forming between your natal sun and the other planets. But I will be able to estimate that for you using the strategy of the decan as well as the relative birth dates. And I will definitely translate everything into the birth dates, but I'll also cover which degrees specifically are being impacted at that time. So I know if that sounds a little too out there for you, don't. You will understand it, I promise. Let's get into the big stuff. So this is for the week of November 5th through November 11th, 2023. And it is marked by two major transits. We have Mercury transiting from Scorpio into Sagittarius, which is actually a lot more comfortable of an energy for Mercury. And then we have Virgo transiting from Virgo, which is at where it's at its fall position, to Libra, where it is at home and absolutely kind of self-obsessed and into beauty and really, really, really shines there. But we have a bunch of other stuff going on, and especially one day, which is November 8th, I want to review with you because there's particular energy there that we need to discuss. So let's go over all the major planetary aspects and transits. We reviewed the two transits, but I'm going to go down the list. The Sun is in opposition to Jupiter through the 8th. So on the 8th, the Sun would still be in opposition to Jupiter. But on the 8th, the Sun goes into opposition with Uranus. So on the 8th, the Sun is both in opposition to Uranus and to Jupiter. This makes for a really highly, what I think is combustible energy, because there's huge energy about progress and pushing forward and determining our own self-actualization and expanding beyond what we thought we could, or surprising ourselves and surprising others. So there's huge expansions or advancements there. And when you're talking on a society level, this could be huge expansions when it comes to humanity in general. Definitely level of awakeness and clarity and ingenuity that comes about or is realized at that time. Now, to make this even more combustible, bigger, and more impactful, the Sun all week long is conjunct to Mars. Sun conjunct to Mars is a very powerfully confident energy. It is a very potent energy. It's the energy of progress, of making our way forward. So all of this, now Mars is not exactly in opposition to Jupiter this whole time. Mars is primarily in opposition to Uranus this whole week, because even though the Sun and Mars are conjunct, Mars is a little too far out of that kind of degree span to really be tightly conjunct or tightly opposite Jupiter anymore, since Jupiter now is at, basically most of this week is at 9 degrees Taurus, and Mars is, I believe, like 7 degrees to 21 degrees. It's moving between 17 and 21 degrees Scorpio. So they're really not in opposition, but the Sun is close enough to Mars to be conjunct to Mars. And on the 8th, it will still be conjunct to Mars, and the Sun will be in opposition to both Uranus and Jupiter at the same time. The Sun is in opposition, because of how the Sun travels, the Sun is in opposition to Jupiter up through the 8th, and then after the 8th, it moves into an opposition with Uranus, since Jupiter is at 9 degrees Taurus and Uranus is at 21 degrees Taurus. The Sun is basically spanning this week of like the second decan of Scorpio, which, by the way, all you Tauruses, puts it in direct opposition to you if your birthdays are mid-Taurus season. And we'll talk about what that means for you. But getting back to the major planetary aspects and transits, the Sun is conjunct to Mars all week long. Now, simultaneously, there's a lot going on with Venus as well. Let's talk about her. Venus is in opposition to Neptune pretty much all week long, even when on the 8th she shifts into Libra, where she is far more confident and competent and capable of dealing out more fairness, especially when it comes to finances. She's more magnanimous, she's more diplomatic, she's comfortable, and she's also very glamorous. But in opposition to Neptune, she could be quite delusional, but also very creative. So it's really just the way she's being pressured, and we'll talk about how I think that's going to be impacted. It's going to play out. So we have Venus opposite Neptune most of the week. I think it's actually up through the 10th that the opposition lasts. And then we have, and remember, when I do astrology, it's this 5-degree orb that really creates an aspect. For me, it's 5 degrees farther or 5 degrees short of. And that's the span of 10 degrees. I don't use 10 degrees on either side because I don't feel that the aspect is strong enough, right? So for me, it's always going to be within 5 degrees. So some astrologers, I just want to let you know, would still say that Venus is in opposition to Neptune all week long. I do not. I think once she pushes past that 0-degree point of Libra, which is around the 8th, she is really starting to get out of my comfort zone to call it a real strong opposition to Neptune. So that being said, Venus is in opposition to Neptune most of this week. She is sextile to Mercury all week long. Now, Venus sextile to Mercury is eloquence in speech and how you present yourself, how you're able to communicate. This could be very fair and happy, even flirtatious communications that come in, very opportunity based when it comes to being able to present yourself well. And for those of you who are in favorable ratio to this aspect, it will be very productive and helpful for you in all situations, not just in romance, but at work, anywhere. Being able to gracefully communicate your thoughts and ideas, whether it's written or whether it's vocal, it's just really beneficial. Beautiful, optimistic energy. And then we have a trine to Pluto. Venus is now too far away to really be trining Uranus anymore, but she is still very much trine to Pluto, which gives her a greater magnanimous or magnetic energy, a lot more appeal, and a lot more power and strength. And anything that's getting attention from Pluto or interacting with Pluto will have a bigger impact. And trines bring harmony. Trines bring harmony to dissonance. They bring balance. They kind of force a balance because Pluto, whether it's in a trine, sextile, opposition, or Pluto just doesn't take any shit. So essentially, it kind of is going to insist on a balance and get its way. And what a great place to put Venus at this time. What a better place than Libra to sort of push a balance, or a balance that has to be struck. On the 9th, so on the 8th, we have Venus transiting into Libra. It's on the 9th, or between the 9th or 10th, it's on the 9th, that Mercury transits into Sagittarius. Now, Mercury in Sagittarius is really playful energy. It's upbeat, it's curious, it likes to know, explore, understand, talk. You might find yourself in conversations talking more than usual. There is a lot of, I always think of Mercury in Sagittarius as the foreign language kind of energy, this sense of learning a new foreign language, being open to it, having more interactions when it comes between countries, talking more, interacting more, or sharing messages more. So there's a lot more activity when Mercury goes into Sagittarius, a lot more optimism and a lot more curiosity. Mercury has just dragged up a lot of information, or a lot of even feelings that had been hidden when it comes to Scorpio season. And now, what will the delivery system be? How will we distribute that information? Mercury is also interacting with a lot of planets this week. So we have Mercury that is Mercury square to Saturn. We have Mercury sextile to Pluto, and we have Mercury trine to Neptune. That is beautiful energy for being able to articulate information or distribute information that is admittedly a bit disruptive. Mercury square to Saturn is restrictive communications, trying to restrict communications, or having a hard time figuring out what is legal or what is not. Sextile to Pluto, it's going to be powerful and impactful energy that might actually challenge the powers that be or the status quo, especially with Mercury trining Neptune, this consciousness or creative expansion of the mind that enables us to not only think outside of the box, but see it and articulate it. And it makes sense why there would then be a square to Saturn, because now we're combating reality, right? So pretty much there could be some major expose of a huge thought process or ideas, or simply this: there will be a lot more appeal in what should be than what already is this week. We have Mars trine to Neptune through the 9th, so that's extraordinarily beautifully creative energy, taking a lot of action when it comes to being energized by our dreams. It's also a very, malleable energy. It's productive in a lot of ways, right? Or it could be acting on dreams, but I don't think so. I think it's very productive. It's creative and productive and faith-filled, and I like it. We also have the Sun trine Neptune through November 11th. So Mars is conjunct the Sun, right? And they're both trine to Neptune most of the week together. Very creative energy, dynamic and progressive, being able to progress beyond what reality is. So there could be huge advancements that are coming along the way, especially since at the end of the week, the Sun is in opposition to Uranus, and Uranus brings change. Uranus brings a dynamic difference and shift in consciousness as well as in what reality is capable of being, because Uranus lets us figure out how to shift reality in very surprising ways. So you may just definitely surprise others this week, but also a lot of people could be surprising themselves this week. And then we have the Sun, Mercury sextile to Venus, we talked about that, and sextile to Pluto at the same time. So exceptional power of communication that comes now. This could be the communication that really could orchestrate peace, enable a war to be ended. I hope people act on that. I can't say that it will, but there should be some groundbreaking and very positive announcements that come through this week. Groundbreaking communications. So now what we're going to do is shift into zodiac sign specific energy, and I hope you guys will check out the timestamps below and come follow along with. One little thing I needed to add. I know, all showered and shaved and shined. One more thing I needed to add. I told you that I was going to specifically discuss the 8th of November. So let's go over that really quickly before we go into Scorpio, okay? On the 8th, the Sun is still, of course, conjunct to Mars, but it is semi-square to Venus conjunct the Moon, because the Moon conjuncts Venus on this date. The Sun is also simultaneously in opposition to Uranus, and Venus is still in a very, at this point, loose, say 10-degree trine to Uranus while being trine to Pluto. Mercury is trine to Neptune, being very creative energy, and then Mercury is in opposition to Saturn and sextile to Pluto, which it is all week, and we discussed that is very sort of revolutionary kind of revelation energy. Neptune is in opposition to Venus conjunct the Moon, which is a very dreamy, distractible, deception kind of energy. So this could be when we realize and take action on a huge deception, or even deception in our self-perception, that we have been kind of buying into for a while. The Sun is also in opposition to Jupiter and Uranus simultaneously. So this is a lot of push forward, advancement, get out of places that we've been stuck in, especially through through distraction, especially through being deceived or intentional deception when it comes to financial markets, especially because Venus rules finances. So I just want you to take particular interest in that day on the that's November 8th, and within your zodiac sign specific predictions, I will point out how that is interacting with your natal suns, how I'll point out what's going on the 8th of November, if in fact it's going to be interacting with your natal suns in a profound way. So now let's go into the zodiac sign specific energy. Scorpio. So let's start out first of all, Scorpios, with what's going on in Scorpio, because there's a lot. This is Scorpio season. This is where the sun is. The sun is moving between 13 and 19 degrees Scorpio, making it conjunct to the natal suns of those of you born between, say, November 1st and the 11th. Mars is moving between 17 and 21 degrees, which means it's primarily conjunct to the natal suns of those of you born between, say, the 8th and the 13th of November. And then Mercury is moving between 23 degrees Scorpio and it's going to move into Libra, so 1 degree Libra. No, it's going to move into Sagittarius. So it's going to be at 1 degree Libra by the end of the week, meaning that it's primarily going to be conjunct to those of you born between the 12th and the 22nd of November. So we have a lot of energies that are directly impacting the natal suns of all you guys. And when I break things down into the decans, I'll tell you exactly how that impact will affect you. Let's go into, as well as the fact that how does this affect the globe with all this energy being in Scorpio? Well, Scorpio is the repository of all things hidden, those things we try to keep secret, but we're aware of. So there's intentional deception. It can be, as well as just repression, things that we don't want the world to see. Privacy. It could even be just, those things that are private, that are valuable, and we don't want everybody knowing about. All of those things. But Scorpio is the zone of the hidden. It's also the zone of the toxic, those things that are thrown away, the repository of the toxins of the zodiac. So Mercury in Scorpio is very much private investigator, digging deep, getting deep into conversations, getting more spiritual in all of those conversations, and in all of the context of the conversations and the information that you're looking for. You can discover a lot when Mercury is in Scorpio. Mars in Scorpio, since Mars is at home in Scorpio, is quite formidable energy. It is relentless. It is obsessive. It is, I want what I want and I'm going to get it. It is a virile and it is sexually potent. And then we have the sun in Scorpio, and the sun in Scorpio admittedly is not in its most comfortable position, but it is very much magnanimous. It's very much magnetic. It has a lot of gravity. It has a lot of pull without you even asking for it. So this is quite a powerful, almost profane season of powerful pushes and revelations and resurrections. So let's go on to your ruling dignitaries now. We have Mars. Mars is in Scorpio, going to move between 7 and 21 degrees. It is conjunct the sun all week long. This is really confident and competent energy, huge energy, very virile, could even be romantic in a very sexual way. We have Mars in opposition to Uranus all week long, which means it wants to make changes. It wants to take action and make things different. It does not want to stay in the same place, and the sun is on board. And then we have Mars, of course, square to Saturn. Saturn's all about rules, laws, regulations. Has it already been done? And Mars is like, nope, bitch, get the fuck out of my way. That's exactly the kind of energy that happens between Mars square Saturn. There can be a lot of conflicts, butting heads, or different powers that be fighting amongst each other. But with the opposition to Saturn, it becomes more of a war of rules and laws and regulations. And then we have Mars trine to Neptune, which is actually beautifully creative energy. Very ingenuitive and inventive. It's clever, you know, and it's so not afraid to do what's never been done before, which is beautiful energy. So we've got a lot of productivity with Mars right now. Pluto, we also have in we have in Capricorn. So Pluto's at 28 degrees Capricorn. It is inching more toward Aquarius every day, where it will end up settling next year after a even briefer retrograde back into Capricorn, but it'll go back into Aquarius relatively soon from Pluto speak. We have Pluto sextile to Mercury. And Mercury is in Scorpio, dude. This is huge revelation, breakthrough energy of just not being afraid to state the toxins that you've dug up. Pluto is trine to Venus, which is also about speaking with potency. People listening. Words matter. With Mercury sextile Pluto, your words are going to take effect. They're going to have an impact, and a lasting one, for better or worse, but it's usually for better when it's a sextile to Mercury. And then we have a trine to Venus, which is a very sensual energy, very magnetic energy, obsessive beauty, dark beauty, as well as not being afraid or finding beauty in the occult or the dark things. This is very almost witchy energy, but attractive and sensual. It's also obsessive. Just an FYI. And this could be major changes, especially in finances, that have to be changed, harmonizing or balancing them out, especially since Venus is heading into Libra. And then we have Pluto sextile Neptune, which it'll be for many, many years. That's about dramatic innovations to humanity itself. And then we have Pluto square the nodes for right now, when the nodes are in the third decan of Aries and Libra. Pluto being in the third decan of Capricorn is square to them. This means that humanity itself is turning the table and starting to like or feel comfortable coming into consciousness and directing itself, starting to grow the fuck up. So how does this affect you? If your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Scorpio, it is located in the first 10 degrees of Scorpio, so it's in the first decan of Scorpio. You guys are Scorpio ones. This correlates to Scorpio birthdays in October. Happy birthday, we just ended on October 30th. So it goes from, say, October 22nd to October 30th. So we just ended the first decan of Scorpio. Happy birthday to all those Halloween babies. Your natal suns are square to Pluto, giving you an extraordinarily intimidating energy about you. Intimidating to the point where it can be a little disruptive and you don't understand why people don't like you because you're not doing anything. But it's very intimidating. So just know that. It's actually usually more productive with Scorpio, with your natal suns square to Pluto. Yes, because they're on the so this is primarily cuspers. This is Libra cuspers. So primarily if you are born between, like, say, October 22nd, 23rd, maybe 24th, this would be predominantly you guys, really not those of you born around the 31st of October. It's usually better for you to almost dial it back a little bit and listen more than you speak. There seems to be an intimidating quality about you, and consciously, it could also be you're more black and white than you usually are. You take things to the extreme more, and you don't give a shit as much as you used to. It's more about making change and getting what you want. So it's quite formidable and can be disruptive if you allow it to be. FYI. It's a long-term transit that you guys will be stuck with for at least the next year. So be aware of it. Because you could also use it to get your own way, but you can't ever control Pluto, and so you kind of have to know when to turn it on and when not to. Just an FYI. We also have a trine between your natal suns and Saturn, which is giving you quite the equilibrium when it comes to rules, laws, legalities, regulations. All of those things will cause harmony or create a great harmony in your life, and you can notice this outwardly by over the next few months now. I think Saturn will pull away from this aspect with your natal suns in March of next year, but for right now, tranquility, harmony, or things working out when it comes to work or adulting, if you will. And then we have your natal suns in opposition to Jupiter, at least through for the first couple of days of this week. Now that could bring a great deal of abundance as well as expansion and growth. You would have experienced this all next week, and the first couple of days this week will mark a continuation of that energy, which is really just about opening yourself up, opening your horizons, and being more optimistic. So especially the first couple of days this week could be quite productive for you. Let's move on to Scorpio 2s. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Scorpio, you guys are Scorpio 2s. This correlates to birthdays in November between the 1st and the 11th. We have your natal suns are conjunct the sun. And this brings a level of confidence and visibility and charisma to you that you don't even have to try for. Also, happy birthday, because that's pretty much what it means. When the sun is conjunct your natal sun, you are going to experience your birthdays for the next week or so. So I love you guys so much, and happy birthday. Your natal suns through the 9th are also conjunct to Mars, especially those of you born more toward the end of the second decan, which is around the 8th, 9th, and 10th, and the 11th. So what does this mean? Since all week long the sun is conjunct to Mars, there is confidence and there is progress that is going to be made. I would definitely trust yourself. You want to push forward, you want to move forward, and you're confident to do so. You have a semi-square to Venus, so there could be some eagerness that comes from financial issues or even your intimate partnerships or relationships. And then we have this quincunx to Chiron that has been long-term and could be quite grounding and humbling and put a spur in your side when it comes to, it's almost like any kind of issues with regards to pain and suffering from the past, financial issues or damages could be really making you like, I'm not going to take it anymore. I just want progress. I'm going to go for it. And I would encourage you to do so this week, Scorpio. Now, Scorpio 3s. If you know your natal suns are between 20 and 29 degrees Scorpio, then you are Scorpio 3s. This correlates to birthdays between, say, November 12th and the 22nd. Through the 9th, your natal suns are conjunct to Mercury. If you're born at the end or on the Scorpio-Sagittarius cusp, your natal suns are conjunct to Mercury all week long. What does this mean? Very articulate energy for you guys. You guys are strong communicators this week and also quite brilliant. The ideas will come, or communication or information will suddenly become obvious to you. Your natal suns are conjunct to Mars starting the 9th. So definitely watch the energies that shift around November 8th for you guys, because it could be quite the revelations that occur on that day. But your natal suns by the 9th will be conjunct to Mars, bringing a formidability to your energy, as well as a oomph, a virility and a vitality that will make you take risks that you normally wouldn't. And then we have an opposition to Uranus all week long between your natal suns and Uranus. This is actually long-term, long-standing, but because you have now Mercury and Mars that are sort of exacerbating that opposition, there is change. You're going to want to speak on and take action on dynamic change in your life. And then we have and anything that is kind of you feel getting in the way of your individuality, you will pop off on. Just an FYI. We also have a sextile to Venus and a sextile to Pluto. So the sextile to Pluto is long term, which is like giving you a gravity in and of itself and helping you make breakthroughs or be disruptive. But this sextile to Venus is just here for this week, and I can tell you that this is really sexy time energy, major breakthroughs, finance, desirability, things that you want, things that you desire. You can get what you want that day. The 8th is a huge day for you guys to get what you want and make moves on what you want. There's also a trine to Neptune that's long-term, which is beautiful creativity and psychic energy, real psychic abilities. Between your natal suns in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces, are you kidding me? Really trust your instincts and intuitions. And then we have a square to Saturn, and that square to Saturn is, of course, it's causing a lot of friction when it comes to rules, laws, regulations, and authority figures. You're challenging it. You are the disruptor. And especially this week, you are going to get heard, and you are going to get noticed, and you are going to get seen. Or for some of you, you might get exposed. Either way, watch the 8th. Big day. I love you guys, and please remember to share this video with people you know would like it too. Also, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the videos. Okay, so Libra. Okay. What's going on in the zodiac sign of Libra? Well, we still have Venus coming in on the 8th and between the 8th and 9th. And it will move between 0 and 3 degrees Libra. So Venus is coming home, guys. And this is very romantic, eloquent, and attractive energy. This marks your Venus return if your Venus is in Libra. Either way, Venus will be conjuncting, especially the natal suns this week. Of those of you in the first decan of Libra, this is going to bring a natural eloquence, creativity, and sensuality to you that will act as a magnet and attract people without you even trying. The South Node is, of course, still there at 24 degrees. This gives an easement and a comfort, but as well kind of a settling in that might get too comfortable. It means that you're probably, especially if you are Libra 3s, dealing with a lot of or reliving a lot of moments from your past to kind of encourage you to start moving out of that comfort zone. So what is going on with Venus? Venus is your ruling dignitary. So wherever she is and whatever's impacting her, keep a close eye on because it matters. It will always kind of flavor your energy. Venus starts out in Virgo at 27 degrees, but by the end of the week, she will end up in Libra. In fact, she's going to be up to 3 degrees Libra by the end of the week. She transits into Libra by the 9th. And all week long, she is sextile to Mercury. She is trine to Pluto. And through the 8th, marking the 8th as a big day, because this is the last day when Venus and Neptune are in real opposition to each other. So a lot of romanticism, a lot of creativity, a lot of potency or being able to conceptualize things out of the norm, but also in a beautiful, eloquent way, really gorgeous energy. Beautiful things will be created within this energy that is very attractive, maybe to the point of distraction, and dreamy. Let's get into the decans, shall we? If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Libra, then it is in the first decan of Libra, because it's in the first group of 10 degrees of Libra. You guys are Libra 1s. Your natal suns are the ones that are going to be conjuncting Venus, and it'll get a real powerful hit because there's a huge potency when an energy first transits. And so you guys, especially those of you born on that Libra Virgo cusp, so say September 22nd, 23rd, 24th, early season Libras, it's you guys that are going to really feel the beauty and glory of Mama Venus coming home. sensual energy. There's a semi-square to the sun, so your looks might be frustrating you. It's a good time to redo it, redo your hair, get inspired, shine. And then we have a sextile between your natal suns and Mercury, which is going to give you eloquence of speech, opportunities to talk and be seen and be heard, be listened to, but be able to do it in a way that people want to listen to you because it's so eloquent and beautiful. This is a beautiful energy for you guys right now. Great time to flirt, great time to date. Really, and great time to actually even give presentations and stuff because you'll be kind of naturally flamboyant. We have a trine to Pluto, which is long term, but with Venus there, it's exacerbating it. So it gives it a depth and a gravity and sort of an attractiveness about it, almost a magnetism about your character right now that is irresistible. And then we have a quincunx to Jupiter, which means you want to expand and broaden your horizons. You'll actually feel inspired to do so, if not agitated if you can't do so. Let's move on to Libra 2s. If you know that your natal suns are between 10 and 19 degrees Libra, you guys are Libra 2s. This correlates to Libras that have birthdays between October 1st and the 11th. It's in and around there, October 2nd and the 11th. Your natal suns are in opposition to Chiron. Not a lot of stuff happening outside of that for you, so sit back and watch the shit show for everybody else. But the opposition to Chiron is still quite pronounced, and so there can be some frustration there when it comes to how you feel about yourself, or how you feel the world is treating you, or how worthy you feel. Even old injuries starting to crop up when it comes to relationship issues versus being independent and standing in your own value. Let's go into Libra 3s. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Libra, this is you guys. You guys were the ones that were ground zero for that eclipse. That's right, that just passed. So your natal suns are conjunct the south node, opposite the north node. So there's a lot of stuff to work through when it comes to events from your past, relationships from your past, garbage in relationships from your past. This is time to work through it and change. And then we have this long-term square to Pluto, which is making your natal suns quite formidable. That's that kind of energy where you want to be aware of how you're impacting people. You're shorter, you're more black and white right now, you're shorter tempered. There is an energy of not taking any shit, which can be really good, but it can also be disastrous if people feel that you are not flexible or want to get one over on them too much. You can have quite that potent energy right now for the next year. So be aware and try to read the room and take deeper breaths to be understanding of how you're impacting people. This is relentless, not ruthless. That's the kind of energy. You don't want to be ruthless in this energy. Relentless is okay. You actually probably will break down walls. We have a quincunx to Uranus, which means there can be a lot of agitation that you feel right now for the next year, because Uranus will be quincunx to your natal suns for quite some time. So this is sort of an energy that is spurring you to do things outside of the norm, get a little bit more odd, and accept your individuality much more. And you'll be put into some uncomfortable situations to make that happen. And then if you're at the cusps, so the Libra Scorpio cusps, that would be October 21st, 22nd, 23rd, maybe 20th as well. Your natal suns are trine to Saturn, which is definitely going to give you an easement when it comes to maturity, your career, and dealing with authority figures all the way through, I think, March or April of next year. So over the past year, you could kind of measure the growth or tranquility or balance that's been able to be reestablished or established for the first time in your career. This could have been what it was all working up to. So you let me know in the comments below. I love you guys so much. Please don't forget to share this video with people you know would love it, to give it a thumbs up, and also Libra, subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you guys in the videos. All right, so Sagittarius, let's get into your energy. Taking down the timestamps. So what is going on in the zodiac sign of Sagittarius? Well, we're just seeing some early signs of life, because it has been, right? Like nothing has been there. But guess what? Mercury's coming to visit. And Mercury in Sagittarius is quite the chatterbox, is very interested about everything all at once, and absolutely loving the foreign cultures, information, learning and discovery, growth. This is a great time for education and a great time if you speak foreign language or to start taking one. What is Jupiter up to? So Mercury enters Sagittarius on the 9th. And that means especially those of you born in the first decan of Sagittarius. So that would be born between, say, November 22nd and December 1st. That would be you guys, especially those of you on the Scorpio Sagittarius cusp, November 2nd, November 22nd, 23rd, 24th. You're going to feel that impact of Mercury coming in to conjunct your natal suns. And oh boy, are you going to be a chatterbox and have the best ideas. It's a great time for any important communications or to get yourself out there, be more social, and talk to more people. Let's get into what Jupiter's doing. Jupiter is still in Taurus. It actually, on the 5th, will still be at 10 degrees Taurus, but quickly it moves on into, now it's retrograded all the way back into the first decan of Taurus, so it goes back to 9 degrees Taurus. Jupiter is also semi-square to Neptune now. Semi-square to Neptune is actually great creative energy and expansion and growth. This sense of growing beyond your borders, having dreams that are bigger. Dream bigger. Think of it that way. And then we have Jupiter sextile to Saturn, which is probably one of the most productive energies you can discover. This is, I will get things done. I will figure it out. Positive breakthroughs can really be had in terms of like growing and expanding even traditional systems. This is a great energy. Let's see how this energy is impacting you directly, Sagittarius. So Sagittarius ones, we already kind of went over. Mercury conjuncting your natal suns by the 9th. For those of you born on the cusp, so this is, say, November 22nd, 23rd, 24th, you're going to feel this all week long. You're going to feel this from the beginning of the week, because technically Mercury is already conjunct your natal suns. So this is beautiful, enlightened, kind of brilliant, and very social energy. Your natal suns are in a long-term sextile with Pluto, which means you are getting what you want. You just have a gravity to you where people will move in the direction you want to push. But this week you're also sextile to Venus, so that becomes very sensual energy, sexual energy, desirable. This is a great time to make moves and put yourself out there. Opportunities will open up for you. You have a square to Saturn all the way through March or April of next year. Now, this could mean that you're butting heads with authority figures, rules, laws, regulations, just in terms of feeling like maybe you're restricted or held back. And not necessarily like you're getting arrested, but like this feeling of just being restricted or held back, which can actually push you kind of into getting outside of your comfort zones, which can be quite productive. We also have a long-term trine to Neptune, highly creative energy, just bursting with creativity and song, and maybe it's like sharing your ideas. And then we have this quincunx to Jupiter, which is going to spur you on and push you forward. So this is quite the turnabout of events. And especially when the 9th comes around and Mercury is conjunct your natal suns, this is definitely time to put yourself out there and take those chances. Not like risky chances, but if you've been thinking about it, communicate it. Put yourself out there. Great time Great week for sexy time, great week for flirtation, great week for having fun and meeting new people. Let's go on to Sagittarius 2s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Sagittarius, that's you guys, Sagittarius 2s. This correlates to Sagittarians between to birthdays between December 2nd and the 11th. Your natal suns don't have a lot hitting it for this week, but it will next week, so bear with me. Your natal suns are trine to Chiron, though. You're in a long-term trine to Chiron. That's going to last another year or so. So what does that mean? Healing. Especially a lot of old injuries to your body, to your physical self, and wanting to change your lifestyle so they don't keep happening. And so if that's been a theme over the past year, you know why, and it will continue to be that way. You'll be able to heal from experiences that hurt you a great deal. Let's move on to Sagittarius 3s. So Sagittarius 3s, if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Sagittarius, this is you guys, Sagittarius 2s. I'm Sagittarius 3s. This correlates to Sagittarian birthdays between the 12th and the 22nd of December, right up to the Capricorn cusp. Your natal suns, if you are at the cusp, so say December 21st, 22nd, 23rd, maybe December 20th, 21st, 22nd, your natal suns are going to be sextile to Saturn. So right now, this is really strong energy for you to make moves and push forward in your career. Lots of great opportunities in your career. This probably has been true long term, so use that energy to your advantage. Your natal suns are square to Neptune long term, which can be quite distracting, but also very creative. Use your creative energy to generate newness in your life instead of allowing it to distract you and put you to sleep more. You have a longer term for the next couple of months, trine to the North Node and sextile to the South Node, which is basically putting you in harmony with moving forward with your life and moving away from especially situations in your past regarding relationships, since the South Node is in Libra. This is a sense of really realizing and recognizing all that they've taught you and how they've inspired you to make you more comfortable with where you're headed for where you were destined to go. So your comfort zone may be changing at this point, but in good ways that are informed by what you've experienced in the past. You're now ready to receive what you've always deserved. And then we have a square to Venus. So a square to Venus is not a great time to date. It can mean a lot of frustration, financial frustration, challenges, as well as the way you feel you look, like your hair just not ever being right this week, like that kind of energy. Not the greatest time to do Day of Beauty. You probably won't be satisfied with it. Definitely not. There's like just challenges coming from that might actually push you to make changes or rearrange some stuff. Just an FYI. And then we have this long-term quincunx to Uranus. This could be a week that you get quite frustrated when it comes to how you feel within your relationship, with how you feel within your sexuality, how you feel, how attractive you feel. This could make you inspired to start making changes to how you exist in those spaces, with finances as well. Just an FYI. I love you guys so much, and I really hope you have gotten a lot out of this. Please share it with somebody you know would like it too. Give it a big old thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, Sagittarius. I love you guys, and I will see you in the videos. Okay, so Capricorn, let's get into your energy. What is going on in the zodiac sign of Capricorn? Your natal sun, so Capricorn, Pluto is at 28 degrees Capricorn. That gives a gravitas to all energy with regards to our public and social legal structures. Legal structures, ethical structures, all of those things. Pluto is right there. There's quite a disturbance in the force. Just an FYI, wherever Pluto is, there's a disturbance. It's basically conjunct to the natal suns of those of you who are Capricorn 3s, especially those of you who are on the Capricorn Aquarius cusp, born around January 20th, 21st, 22nd. This is your life is changing. Who you are is changing, and changing in ways that you will never change back. It is a metamorphic period for you. Let's talk about what Saturn is doing. Saturn is at 0 degrees Pisces. It is now direct. It just went direct yesterday. So you're going to start to feel some Saturnian energy coming back on. It's been a little bit lackadaisical, but ultimately Papa Saturn is regenerating, right? Or not, yeah, it's coming back in full force. So your power source has just come back on. We also have Saturn square to Mercury all week long. That can be quite disruptive. Feeling restricted or restrictive speech, or the conflicts that come from speech that has been, or information that has been held back. We also have trine. Saturn is trine the south node, so there is a little bit of harmony with regards to the way things always were, or things that you learned, or patterns that you set based on old relationships that you were in. Maybe even finding some peace with it so that you can move on to the future. And then Saturn is also in a long-term semi-square to Chiron, which is almost like this poke, like this needle or a pebble in your shoe to remind you of old injuries so you don't make the same mistakes again. All right, Capricorn, if you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Capricorn, it is in the first 10 degrees of Capricorn, which means it's in the first decan of Capricorn. You guys are Capricorn 1s. This correlates to Capricornian birthdays in December, say December 22nd through the 31st. So yes, my Christmas babies. 'Tis the season to be reminding you, everybody in your life, that your birthday and Christmas are not the same thing. Yeah, I hear you. Capricorn. Capricorn 1s, your natal suns are trine to Jupiter. This is luck and optimism. Please let it set you up. This is a beautiful energy for breakthroughs to just sort of happen to you, as well as feeling more optimistic, good about yourself, and more curious about the world at large. We also have a wonderful time to travel. If you're planning on it, especially foreign travel, great time to do it. We have a sextile to Saturn as well, so that's long term. Guys, beautiful energy with regards to taking a foreign job right now, networking outside of your national boundaries, borders. Just growth over the next year in your career and in your professional life. We also have a semi-square to the sun, which means that there's kind of a pebble in your shoe with regards to your ego, something like spurring you on or being easily triggered by things that trigger your ego or how you see yourself. And then this week, and then we have a square to Venus, which means there can be some disruptive energy with regards to your romantic life. It's not the best time to date. Maybe even how you feel about your level of attractiveness, or not being agitated that you won't find anybody that appeals to you if you're single, or just being sort of unnerved and challenged with regards to finances as well. It can be quite frustrating week for you, but it will pass after next week. That trine to Jupiter, and interestingly enough, it could be why you decide or feel more comfortable with going outside of your own borders, or finding interesting things outside of your norm, or why you are now ready to grow and expand, right? It's like, I got to get out of this house, that kind of energy, The square to Venus could also be, like I said, frustration in finances. So it's not a great time to overspend. It's a good time to try to watch your checkbook. This is major energy that you might want to be aware of right now. All right, let's go into Capricorn 2s. Capricorn 2s. If you know that your natal suns are between 10 and 19 degrees Capricorn, you guys are Capricorn 2s. This correlates to birthdays between January 1st and January 11th. Your natal suns are semi-square to Saturn, which means quite the egging on or needling of adulthood, adult responsibilities, feeling like you have to grow up or feeling like you're being lorded over by other people. That is up through next year, next March. But there's a sextile to the sun and a sextile to Mars this week through the 9th. So especially by that beautiful day on the 8th, I would say you guys are just ready to sort of explode forward, make waves, and not give a shit. Who cares? And you're egged on by maybe people not taking you seriously enough, that semi-square to Saturn, and that square to Chiron that is long-term, and you don't want to be stuck anymore. You want to learn from your own mistakes. So that's kind of very grounding energy. And if you can learn from past mistakes and past failures, then honestly, you can let that sextile to the sun and Mars really direct your energy and take all the right risks. This can be quite productive energy this week, but guide it. Don't let it guide you. If you're guided by anything, be guided by what you have learned, not the fear or sadness from mistakes in the past or from hardships in the past, but from what you've learned by them, to really demonstrate your maturity and show that you're ready to be different or move in a new direction. So let's move on to Capricorn 3s. Your natal suns are going to be between 20 and 29 degrees Capricorn. This correlates to birthdays between the 12th and 22nd of January. Your natal suns, especially if you're at the cusps, so that's the 20th, 21st, 22nd of January, your natal suns are conjunct Pluto and square the nodes. You are going through a turning of the corner of your life. You will notice yourself change, what you like, who you like, starting to shift and change. Just because this is life, and I'm telling you, this is the next part of your life. This is a big shift in your life. Your natal suns have a long-term sextile to Neptune, which means you are open and creative and really really creative and maybe even more intuitive and psychic. But this week, you're also sextile to Mercury. Sextile to Mercury and Neptune, get down with the music, brother. Like, get in with it, listen to it, have it all around you. You're especially musical, you're especially harmonious, and it will be so nice. People will listen to you and really take you, just like you could open up doors for yourself with regards to your ability to how wonderfully you can communicate abstract ideas, even psychic energy or psychic predictions, really. Your natal suns are also trine to Venus and trine to Uranus, so you are definitely stepping outside of your norm, being attracted to things that are different and odd, or loving and seeing the beauty in those oddities in yourself. This is quite a transformative energy for you, especially long term. But this week, with the added sextile to Mercury and trine to Venus, expect beautiful breakthroughs that highlight your eloquence of speech, opportunities and doors that will open up for you. This is a great time to send out resumes, go on auditions, give presentations. Just an exceptional time where you will present yourself so beautifully. If you're just starting to date, it's a great, flirtatious, and just sexy time to put yourself out there. I love you guys. I hope you're going to have a good time, especially Capricorn 3s. Please do give this a thumbs up and definitely share it if you know somebody would love it too. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I love you guys, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye, Capricorn. Okay, Aquarius. Aquarius. What's going on in Aquarius? We always begin with that question. Really nothing. Still nothing is going on. Now, some of you who are born at the very, very beginning, so the Capricorn cusp, say Aquariuses that are born, say June 21st or 22nd or 23rd, I'm sorry, January 21st, 22nd, 23rd. you guys are already feeling it. You guys are already conjunct to Pluto, and that conjunction will get stronger over the next year as Pluto enters and solidifies its presence in Aquarius for the next 13 years. So you guys are already conjunct. You've stayed conjunct. It's like you can feel the impressionable power of Pluto on you. But in terms of what's actually in Aquarius, within the 30 degrees assigned to Aquarius, on the zodiac wheel, there is nothing really big happening. We're going to go over your ruling dignitaries, though. So what is going on with Saturn? Oh, good question. Why is it so difficult for me to answer? It's not. With Saturn is at 0 degrees Pisces. It has just gone direct. And so its energy is going to start coming back on again in terms of holding people accountable to higher standards. It's kind of also, after its retrograde, awakened up, and it's more clear-minded as its own ethics. It can get clogged up and a little bit corrupt, that energy, which is why retrograde helps to cleanse it and clear it out. Same thing for all the outer planets. But when it really wakes up, there is this energy of ethics turning back on as well. So we have Saturn at 0 degrees Pisces now going direct. It is square to Mercury all week long. And Saturn square Mercury is a restrictive speech. Or speech that has been held back or restricted, maybe intentionally so, or should be. Communication frustration, let's put it that way. And then we have a trine to the south node. So this sense of what we're used to, what we're comfortable with, and what we can control, or a sense of taking more personal authority over the things that over our comfort levels and the things that we've sort of like cradled ourselves into, and a perhaps maturation of our past. And then we have Saturn in a semi-square to Chiron, which is long-term. And ultimately, this could make us question our own sense of self-worth or self-value, or if anything, if things will ever get better. Of course they will. It's kind of inspiring us to find reasons why or how to improve it yourself. Let's go on to Uranus. So what is Uranus doing? Uranus is at 21 degrees Taurus. It is in opposition to the Sun through the 8th of November and is in opposition to Mars all week long. This means we are going to be stimulated all week long to change. Change how the world sees us, change the way we work, change what we do, rebel, and take action for change and for truth. We have a Sesa square to Venus, which is still kind of frustrated energy, sexually frustrated energy, not wanting to be doing the same things or giving the same value to the things we've always given value to. So not desiring what we used to value, switching things up. Now, all of this energy together can produce outbursts of anger, especially the opposition to Mars from the past. We have impulsive or disregard for tradition, breaking free from obligations and responsibilities. So this can actually happen spontaneously this week, especially to those of you Aquarians. You guys are greatly impacted by Uranus. So you could actually surprise yourself in ways that you just need to break out of the norm this week. And if you can let yourself, then do it. You might need a little bit of just temporary liberation from your responsibilities and obligations. It's kind of a disruptive energy, disrupting routines. Like, just routines will not work for you this week. Just an FYI. You want freedom. You want new and exciting ways to live life. Sudden changes will happen or will spur deep inside your belly, and you'll just need that spontaneity in your life this week. And so prepare for it. Understand it. You won't be able to prepare. You'll surprise yourself the ways that you want to sort of personally rebel. But know that that's going to happen to you this week. Accept it and kind of allow yourself to break routine where you can. Now, let's break everything down into the decans. So if you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Aquarius, then you are your natal sun is in the first 10 degrees of Aquarius. You're in the which is the first decan of Aquarius. You guys are Aquarius ones. Your natal suns, if you're at the cusp, which we talked about 21st, 22nd, 23rd of January, your natal suns are already conjunct to Pluto, which is very potent and powerful and symbolizes a metamorphic change in your existence, who you are and how you see yourself. We have a sextile to Neptune, which is very creative energy, very dreamy and very psychic, and that's over the next couple of years. So that can awaken abilities in you that you didn't even realize you had. Remember, Neptune does rule the 12th house, which is the house of mysteries. Very different from the 8th house of the hidden, because we are aware of what we hide, even if we forget about it for a while. The house of mysteries, we don't know. We don't know where that stuff comes from. And so this sextile to Neptune, which is also in Pisces, which rules the 12th house. It doesn't have to be your 12th house, but this is a lot of energy of mystery, stuff that you didn't even know you were capable of will start to kind of come out of you, or you'll sort of discover it in yourself over the next couple of years. So that's brilliant energy. We also have this week, at least from the 10th, so the very end of this week, your natal suns are going to be sextile to Mercury as well, which is beautiful speech communication. With that sextile to Neptune, I would not be surprised if you're taking a lot of musical sort of opportunities, or things are very lyrical for you now. You're expressing yourself in a very lyrical and poetic way. This is creativity with words. It's just also a sense of being able to communicate your dreams, what you dream. So this is really brilliant energy toward the end of the week. We have a wonderful time for you when you're sextile to Mercury. Go on interviews, go on auditions, take tests. This is great time when there's a sextile to Mercury. There is a longer term square to Jupiter, so you can feel kind of challenged or pushed to do more, be bigger, and there is a tendency to get more ahead of yourself with that energy, so just understand that. The truth is that at least then you are, and this is by the 10th too, so at least then you are kind of optimistic and wanting to expand and grow. So we have a trine to Uranus as well, which is innovative, it is profound, it is accessing source, because you have that sextile to Neptune as well, and the conjunction to Pluto. This is really kind of ground zero for the things that are the new things, the breakthrough thoughts or ideas that are breaking through over the next 10 years. We also have a trine to Venus this week, so this is comfort and harmony and healing that can come in affairs of the heart, or what you desire, or what is valuable to you, or finances. So your love relationships, your intimate partnerships, what you desire and what you value, finally being in harmony. This gives your natal sun a beauty to it that it doesn't even have to work for. It's a charisma. So this is a very good week to present yourself and your ideas. You'll have an eloquence to your speech. You'll have an eloquence to your ability to present yourself that can really open doors for you. Let's go on to Aquarius 2. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Aquarius, you guys are Aquarius 2. This correlates to birthdays, basically say February 1st through the 11th, or maybe the 10th, since February is shortened a bit. Your natal suns are sextile to Chiron, which means, we've talked about this, this is you being inspired to improve upon your life and open up doors for others because of the hardships that you've experienced, or through the hardships that you've experienced. We also have a semi-square to Neptune, which means your dreams can be a little bit disruptive or egging you on in a way. Now, especially if your birthdays are February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, your natal suns are square to Jupiter. This is, yeah, it's basically you guys, because it's primarily, Jupiter is primarily in the first decan of Taurus, and so it's primarily decan 1 Aquariuses that are square to it, but you guys, since you're just on the second decan, first decan cusp, February 1st, 2nd, and February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, that would be you guys, especially February 1st and 2nd. You guys would be experiencing this too, wanting to expand, wanting to grow, maybe getting ahead of yourself. You also have a square to the sun, all of you, all week long. So this can cause a little bit of congestion when it comes to your sense of self-worth, and a little bit of egotism, and maybe eruptions of arrogance can happen here as well. We also have a square to Mars through the 9th. So up through the 9th, this is quite a combustible energy for you. Push you to understand yourself better. It could, absolutely. Help you understand yourself better, or make you realize the aspects of yourself that you really got to work on as you become more tense and more quarrelsome and quicker to anger this week. FYI, not the best time to put a lot of pressure on yourself, or, you know, you'll just be easier to pop off. You'll just be easier to take things to the extreme. It'll be easier for you to exaggerate what you're experiencing and react to the exaggeration. FYI. Let's move on to Aquarius 3. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Aquarius, you guys are Aquarius 3. This correlates to birthdays between, say, the 11th and the 20th or 19th of February. Your natal suns are sextile to the north node and trine the south node. So there is this beautiful energy pulling you to become more independent and more conscious about your choices and about the life that you are building, instead of falling into the comfort zones and just assuming, well, this is who I am. No, this is who I want to be. This is who I admire, and this is who I will love to see myself as. You're kind of turning that corner in your life now. You have also a square to Uranus. Your natal suns are square to Uranus all week long. This is going to make you insist on independence, and especially for you guys, become especially irritable with routine. Very frustrated with routine this week, with anything that you're locked into or committed to. There's a square to Mercury. There's a square to Mercury up through the 11th. So basically all week long, square to Mercury. Square to Mercury is also not a great time to, not a great time for personal expression. There's a lot of confusion and sometimes a lot of mixed messages. Not a great time to sign important paperwork or to present or test or audition anything. This could be a real kerfuffle this week for you. And then from the 10th, so the last 2 days of this week, your natal suns are square to Mars. So that's also at the very end of the week is most difficult for you, most challenging, and where your personality will become most disruptive and most quick to anger, right? And because of that square to Uranus, you might be surprised at where you pop off at people. So just be very aware of yourself this week and try to take a breath and do whatever you can do to ground yourself, because it can be an uncharacteristically challenging week. Yeah, and then you have a quincunx. Your natal suns are quincunx to Venus through the 8th. So in the beginning of the week, there can be something really agitating you. Financial frustrations within your relationship, kind of agitating you, egging you on, and making you want to react. So this, for you guys especially, is a very reactive and reactionary week for you. Best to ground yourself in any way possible. With an air sign, I recommend meditation. Getting to your breath and taking control of your breath does actually help to ground you a lot. I love you guys so much. I believe in you. Please make sure to like this video, and if you love this, please share it with people you know would get a lot out of it too. And then subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, Aquarius, and I will see you guys in the videos. Okay. Let's then move on to Pisces. Pisces. So what is going on with the zodiac sign, in the zodiac sign of Pisces? We know already. Very diametric difference here, kind of a split personality. We have Saturn at 0 degrees Pisces, which is posted direct, and we have Neptune at 25 degrees Pisces. So a Saturn conjunction to Pisces 1 is really grounding and solidifying and maturing energy. Conjunction to Neptune in Pisces 3 is just the absolute opposite, being kind of consumed by your dreams, almost becoming your dreams and living your dreams out loud. This is highly creative, intuitive, perceptive, and psychic energy, where there's a lot of expansion and growth that you didn't even know you were capable of. Things you didn't even know you were capable of can start popping out. With Saturn, there's more of the expected and dealing with the things you already know and are certain of. So what is happening with your ruling dignitaries? So Neptune is your current and modern ruler, so your primary and modern ruler. So let's talk about Neptune. Neptune is in opposition to Venus through the 9th of this week. So even when Venus goes into Libra, she is still in opposition to to Neptune. What does that mean for you guys? More distraction and more vulnerability to lose yourself in rose-colored glasses that you should not be wearing. We also have a trine to Mercury, which is going to make speech very eloquent, thoughts very eloquent, and musical. Measured dreams. Dreams put into a logical and practical order. My friends, that is music. Very music. Connect with music this week especially, as well as Neptune is trying to Mars from the 10th on. What does that mean? That by the end of the week, you will be able to really take action and be certain of these inclinations, as well as these maybe statements or this creative process that you want to make. Especially important to be creative toward the end of this week. Neptune is sextile to Pluto, which is really opening and expanding and changing things dynamically. Dreams that are reshaping our reality. And then we have Neptune semi-square to Jupiter, which is really new. This is a new aspect. Since Jupiter has finally gone retrograded so far back, it's in a semi-square to Neptune. This can be real challenging energy because it can be very easily distracted or make it easier for us to lose ourselves in our desires to expand, as opposed to be able to figure out, okay, but how do I do this? So overall, very creative energy, very it's almost like conceptual growth. You may not know which way to move, but suddenly you'll become aware of why you want to. Then we have to go to Jupiter. Jupiter is in Taurus at 9 degrees. Well, it starts at 10 degrees. It retrogrades back to 9 degrees. It is semi-square to Neptune, so there's an interesting like rub or agitation between those two dynamics of yourself. The dynamic of surprise and unlimited creativity, and the dynamic of expansion and knowledge to learn stuff that you already know or that's already been discovered but you don't already know. It is a wonderful time to let yourself grow through both of these conduits and sort of combine them if you can with multicultural studies or art or something like that. Jupiter is also sextile to Saturn. So sextile between Jupiter and Saturn is one of the most productive aspects in the zodiac. It can really figure out anything, do anything, optimistically open up any doors. This is a highly constructive and productive energy, which makes me really, really happy for you guys, because all this creativity can really go somewhere and be well communicated this week. Let's go into the decans of Pisces, shall we? If you know your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Pisces, it is in the first 10 degrees or first decan of Pisces, and you guys are Pisces 1. It is you guys who are conjunct to Saturn, especially those of you born on the Aquarius cusp. This is a solid, serious, mature, adult energy, very confident and competent, and it will inspire leadership, kind of, or people to take lead from you easily. That's over this next year, actually up through March at this point. We have a sextile to Jupiter, which brings in abundance and expansion and growth and opportunity and fortune, as well as optimism. So Jupiter sextile to the sun is very optimistic energy and optimism that usually helps to open doors. Then we have a square to Uranus. So this square to Uranus is going to make you sort of jump out of your skin when it comes to routines or commitments. This is when you will intentionally want to rebel. And because of all that Uranian energy this week, you will surprise yourself in ways that this energy will come up. You also have a quincunx to Venus. So there can be some financial issues or issues within your desires or your intimate partnerships that start to kind of put a spur in your side that make you want to move forward and move and take action. It is definitely a time when you will be inspired, especially when it comes to your relationships between that square to Uranus and the quincunx to Venus. This is challenging energy for committed relationships. Be aware of that. If you want to try different things, new things, ask your partner to come along with you if you value the partnership. But this could actually really degrade partnerships that are not on point. However, if you face the challenges together, it can also bring you closer together. FYI. Pisces 2. So if you know your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Pisces, you guys are Pisces 2. There is a semi-square to Pluto and a semi-square to the North Node. So like there's needles in your skin or pebbles in your shoe that are pushing you forward and not giving you a choice. It may not be comfortable, but you've got to trust it. Leave it. Like seriously, there is a sense of, or you could be the pebble in somebody's shoe, this sense of wake up, do things differently, take more responsibility for your actions. We have a sextile to Jupiter, especially if you're born around the 1st or 2nd. So it's really only you guys, since Jupiter is now retrograded back into the first decan of Taurus. But it's still close enough to those of you born around March 2nd, March 3rd, that you will absolutely still experience this sextile, this optimism. You know, this sense of growth and expansion and fortune. So you guys are lucky enough to still be experiencing that this week. And then this week you have your natal suns are trine to the current sun and trine to Mars. Trine to Mars through the 9th, trine to the current sun all week long. So most of this week, you guys have a lot of optimism, a lot of energy, and a lot of really fine-tuned understanding of where to take risks and where not to. This will be an easement or a harmony when it comes to being in your physical body. So this is just something you really want to be aware of because it's really blessed energy and you're going to have a lot of confidence and could make a lot of progress this week. You'll definitely be high energy, so try to get into your body, especially get into your body to get out of your head. FYI. Yeah. Let's move on to Pisces 3. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Pisces, you guys are Pisces 3. It is your natal suns that are conjunct to Neptune, so highly creative, highly psychic. Your psychic energy is probably off the wall right now, and you are finding and discovering talents inside of yourself and interests that just feel like they've come out of the blue. They're a mystery to you, or they once were. They will not be anymore. Your natal suns are also sextile to Pluto. This sextile to Pluto is going to change you dynamically and extremely, but also give you a formidable sense or presence that people will respond to by doing what you ask them to do. So this could come in handy as well. Your natal suns are sextile to Uranus, which means that Pisces, you are so open to change. You are so down with it. You are looking for it. And when it comes to rebellion, you wish you could take everyone with you. You have this week through the 10th, or from the 10th on. So at the end of this week, a trine to Mars, which is going to really bring up your energy and your physical certainty. And through the 10th, your natal suns are in opposition to Venus. So you could feel a lot of frustration now when it comes to how you look or what you think you look like, or if people value you well enough. There could be some sort of self-consciousness about that, which is why weirder things or stranger things are now stranger things are starting to appeal to you. Not the show, but things about your own self and your own life. You will really surprise yourself at this point with what you are attracted to, or who you are attracted to, or the different things that you're now interested in. FYI, there can be some surprises in finance too, so it's best not to overextend yourself or spend too much money, especially to compensate for frustration. Just an FYI, watch out for that this week. I love you guys so much. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like it and then share it with people you know would love it too. And then Pisces, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you'll get all the updates with everything that I'm planning on doing and sharing over here. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the videos. Okay, so Aries. What is going on in the zodiac sign of Aries this week? Well, we have Chiron at 16 degrees, which means that if you're an Aries too, you have Chiron conjunct your natal sun. This is really finding inspiration and reason to grow through the challenges and the destructive energies you've experienced in your life. We also have the North Node in Aries at 24 degrees. So those of you who are born at the end of Aries season, so Aries 3, you are really future focused, and you really want to be conscious in every decision that you make. You don't want the comfort zone anymore. You are really finding your own sense of individuality, singularity, and independence. What's going on with Mars? So we have Mars in Scorpio. Mars is in Scorpio, going to move between 16 or 17 degrees and 21 degrees this week. Mars is conjunct the sun all week long. That is confident energy. It's competent energy. It is visceral and sexual, romantic, virile. It is really supercharged and will inspire you to take risks, especially because Mars is also opposite Uranus. It will make you want to change things and surprise yourself and sort of disrupt the energy around you or challenge the norms, especially your norms. FYI. Let's break things down into the decans. So if you know your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Aries, you guys are Aries 1. Your natal suns, your birthdays are probably between... say it's March Aries, so pretty much March 22nd through the 31st, April 1st. Yeah, your natal suns are sextile to Uranus, and if you're at the cusps, they're sextile to Pluto. So cusp would be like March 22nd, 23rd. This is dynamic change. This is, you're taking opportunity. Your life is going to change in ways that are metamorphic as well as permanent. There's innovation here. There's way outside of the box. Things that not necessarily you didn't expect, but they're going to have a real huge impact. You're kind of really taking charge and maybe surprising people with the kind of authority that you have over them. You may be surprised by it, but you do. And this is long term. Your natal suns are also in opposition to Venus through the 8th, so that could cause some frustration when it comes to self-consciousness, not feeling as attractive as you really are. or strain and stress when it comes to financial issues. They may not be bad, it's just that they can't be ignored, or romantic issues. They're not bad, but they can't be ignored. Or put off till later because they're just going to irritate you until you address them. Your natal suns are also trine to Mercury through the 9th. So there's a lot of action that's going on and information that can help to ease out situations. Your brain will be right on point. This is a great time to sort of reassess financial things and agreements, because you'll have the mindset for it and be able to pay a lot of attention, and you'll be very good at negotiating with that sextile to Uranus and sextile to Pluto, FYI. So Aries 2. If you know your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Aries, you guys are Aries 2. This correlates to Aries birthdays between, say, April 2nd and the 11th. Your natal suns are conjunct to Chiron. So there is that sense of, I won't let this happen to anybody. What happened to me, I will repair, I will help. I will take inspiration from what I've been through to help others and make sure that they don't go through the same. You may be even taking inspiration from the things that you've been through, finding them as motivation to change your own life. Your natal suns are semi-square to Neptune and semi-square to Uranus. So there is just this frustration that's going on. This stimulus it's unexpected, surprising. You guys are the ones that are going to really surprise yourself this week with your capabilities and with what you discover you're interested in. FYI. And then we also have a quincunx to the Sun and a quincunx to Mars through the end of this week. This is just watch out, because there's extra pop-offish energy, extra angry energy. There's extra impulsivity that could get you injured. So you don't want to push this too much, and you do want to find a way to ground yourself and settle yourself down and not allow yourself to get into situations where you already know you're going to pop off. But with that semi-square to Uranus and semi-square to Neptune, you're going to surprise yourself anyway. So have a reaction plan. Try to count to 10, pinch yourself, or something like that to regain your attention and authority over your own situation. Not recommended for you guys to be impulsive this week or try new things that could lead to injury. FYI. But you're dealing a lot with this stuff of where you want to head, where you want to go, and what you realize you want to be. And it may just cause a lot of pain or agitation because you didn't realize this about yourself, but now there's new variables to deal with. All right, so Aries 3. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Aries, that's you guys. This correlates to estimated birthdays between April 12th through the 22nd. Your natal suns are in just long-term conjunctions, nothing really spurring it this week, but they are conjunct the North Node and opposite the South Node. So you are becoming far more independent and singular and trusting yourself and making initiations without needing somebody to hold your hand. You're getting much better at this. Relationships or the requirement to lean on them is something that you're not really doing right now, nor should you be. You're awakening to taking more personal authority in your own life and for your own situations. And then you also have a semi-square to Pluto. This is a tough energy because you'll take things to more extreme. You'll find yourself being more black and white minded, right? This sense of not seeing much gray area and being very intolerable of bullshit to the point of cutting people off or being short with people where you normally wouldn't. It can also be very impactful and potent energy. People will feel you when you walk in the room and they will suspect that you are there to take over. You may be, but the fact that they can smell it on you is giving them an unfair advantage to your energy. So just know that people know that about you, and they could be giving you more resistance now than they have ever because of this energy that's wafting off of you for the next year. So be aware that that's what it is. Your secret to success may be relentless. Continue little by little, chip away, but don't be ruthless or undermining or take pleasure in people's pain, because that will set up A, bad dharma, and B, people will kick you right out. Dialing it back a little bit and just being kind of insistent and not letting them forget you're there is really how you will break through walls with this energy and set yourself up for good karma. Just an FYI. Guys, I hope this helped you a lot. Please do leave comments below. Feel free. I love you guys so much. Please remember to like this video and share it with people you know would enjoy it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Subscribe to the channel, guys. I will see you in the videos. Bye, Aries. Okay, so let's go on to Taurus. Taurus energy. What is going on in the zodiac sign of Taurus? Well, lots. Still very active energy, actually. We have Jupiter that is retrograding from 10 degrees to 9 degrees, so that it's finally retrograded all the way back to the first decan of Taurus. So those of you really with your birthdays between, say, the 30th of April and maybe 28th of April all the way through, say, the 2nd of May, especially you guys, your natal suns are conjunct Jupiter this week now, and for a while. So what does that mean for you guys? Big-headedness. You know, when your sun is conjunct to Jupiter, it gives you such a level of optimism that it's easier to get disappointed. This sense of, well, I tried it once, people should love me. And that's not the way that it works out. So you can get really ahead of yourself with this conjunction, just an FYI. Also, Uranus. So Uranus is also in Taurus, but it's in the third decan of Taurus at 21 degrees. So it is conjuncting, especially those of you who have a birthday, I would say at the beginning of the third decan, so around the 12th, 13th, 14th, around there of May. That would be you guys. A conjunction to Uranus is to just enjoy your individuality and be reveling in it and be really surprising yourself with what you are interested in. Uranus is very active this week with that opposition to Mars. And so I would, and the quincunx to Venus, no, says a square to Venus. So I would highly encourage you to just prepare yourself to surprise yourself this week. Just an FYI. So what is Venus doing? Venus is transiting. We already talked about her a little bit earlier. She's going from Virgo, 27 degrees. She's transiting on the 8th or 9th, into Libra. She'll move to about 3 degrees Libra by the end of the week. She's transiting on the 9th. All week long, Venus is sextile to Mercury, which is beautiful energy for communicating, for flirting, for having people listen to you, for feeling confident in the way that you present yourself and your words. You could really win somebody over with this. And then we also have Venus is trine to Pluto, so she has so much more gravity. She has so much more, almost like people will take her more seriously, more magnetism, also more sexuality, more like less fear of the darkness, like decadent like dark chocolate or a Caravaggio painting. That's kind of what it is, that decadent, dark, but sultry, beautiful energy to her. Saucy. And then Venus is also in opposition to Neptune through the 8th. I'm sorry, so she transits into Libra on the 8th. And she is in opposition to Neptune. So this is getting lost in your dreams. This is getting lost in those rose-colored glasses. It may feel good while it's happening, but boy, you're not going to like what happens to you. This is easy for people to take advantage of you. It really is, but it's very creative energy. So to use this energy to create and indulge in those creative inclinations are very, very good for you, but it can be to the point of distraction. Just an FYI. Let's break things down into the decans, shall we, Taurus? If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Taurus. It is in the first 10 degrees of Taurus, which is the first decan of Taurus. So you guys are Taurus ones. This correlates to April Tauruses. So between April 22nd, excuse me, maybe up through April 31st. That would be you guys. Does April have 31 days? I don't know. In and around those dates, your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Jupiter, but especially those of you born toward the end of the first decan. So hold on a second. So June doesn't have, it has 30 days. May has 31 days. So it's like May 1st. May 1st, those of you May 1st, May 2nd. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me go back. So those of you, okay, your natal suns, Taurus ones, your natal suns by the 7th, all of your natal suns will be conjunct to Jupiter, especially those of you whose birthdays are, say, the 30th, 31st, or the 1st of May, FYI. So if you're at the cusps, so this would be, Taurus cusps would be Aries Taurus cusps. So they would be, say, April 22nd, 23rd, 24th. You guys, your natal suns are still square to Pluto and conjunct Jupiter. This is huge energy. This is the energy of not taking shit and wanting to move forward. And then there's also a sextile to Saturn. So this is long-term energy throughout this year. I gotta say, Taurus, this is huge. This is the Taurus ones. This is a time for you to get serious about what you love to do and to push yourself in that direction, because you will make an impact and you will make progress. Just an FYI. Especially in your career with that sextile to Saturn. You could really make some impact. Let's move on to Taurus 2s. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Taurus, that's you guys, Taurus 2. This correlates to birthdays between, say, May 1st through the 11th, in and around those dates. Your natal suns are in opposition to the sun and opposition to Mars all week long. So know that, guys, because this is tremendous energy, dynamic, pulling you in the direction of trust my instincts. I want to go there. I want to get, like, you will feel the grind of your instincts and your intuition, your impulsivity, trying to rip you to another place and carry you somewhere else. But it could just be for ego's sake. So it's really going to be hard to rein in your impulses this week, but I'd highly recommend that you ground yourself and figure out how to, because it could lead to greater injury this week. It could lead to spontaneous anger. It could lead to butting heads a lot more than you normally would. It could also lead to breaking down some doors. This is major risk-taking energy. If Jupiter was involved, I would say, yeah, go for it, but not anymore. So I would say really try to hold yourself, like hold the reins on yourself as much as you can this week, and really just direct yourself down those roads where there is certainty, not impulsivity or not the need to prove yourself, but you have a real passion for something, you have a real love for something, and you have experience with it. Those are the things that I would make moves on. Get into your body in ways that you're comfortable and already know how. Not the best week when your natal sun is opposite Mars conjunct the sun. Not the best week to take a new dance class or to take up horseback riding, because there's an increased possibility for injury. But it's a great time to get into your body and do things that you already know you're good at. Just don't push yourself too hard, because once again, increased potential for injury. FYI. Let's move on to Taurus 3s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Taurus. That's you guys. Your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Uranus, especially if you're born around, like, say, the 12th, 13th, 14th of May. This is really waking up and shaking your need to stake claim to your own independence, break out of routine, and really start to personally accept the oddities that you are attracted to. Your natal suns are also sextile to Neptune and trine to Pluto. It gives you a front row seat for history, like unraveling and unfolding, and being able to witness just different dynamics of change and metamorphosis happening in your life. You also have this week a sextile to Venus. Now, cusps, it's all week long. Sextile to Venus means harmony, eloquence, elegance, a gracefulness to how people perceive you. It is sexy energy. It's attractive energy. There can be a lot of easement or harmony that is made financially, or in terms of how you feel about yourself, how you feel your look, how you feel you look. It's a great day to it's a great week to redecorate or redesign your look or your interior. It's also a great week to date. This could be really nice harmonizing energy. Through the 10th, so through just before the end of this week, your natal suns are opposite Mercury, and from the 10th on, they will be opposite Mars. So in the beginning of the week, your natal suns are opposite Mercury. This is like its own Mercury retrograde. This will be, things will not come out correctly. Communications will get twisted. People will misinterpret you, and not the brightest time for your brain. I would not take any quizzes or tests here, sign any important paperwork this week. Push it off till next week, and if you can, leave all the really important stuff to talk about until the week after. We also have an opposition to Mars starting on the 10th. So especially by the 9th, 10th, this energy for you guys, you may just spontaneously spit out something or say something that you are going to regret. So it's best on that day especially to hold your tongue, because from the 11th forward, your natal suns are going to be in opposition to Mars, and that is really going to cause a lot of trouble. It can cause increased injury, but definitely increased potency to how you behave, and increased impulsivity and increased anger is very likely also increased sex drive. So you may say something sexually inappropriate or find yourself in one of those awkward situations where you said something that you shouldn't. So this, toward the end of the week, is a really, really, really good week to pay particular attention to the risks that you're taking, who you're attracted to, and the words coming out of your mouth. FYI. I love you guys so much, and I hope this energy has helped, or this information has helped. If it has, please share it with people that you know would appreciate it too. And then please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that we can grow here on Astrology Motivation. I love you guys, and I will see you in the videos. Gemini. Okay, so what's going on in Gemini? Nothing. Big old not much right there is happening in Gemini, but there are things that are going on with Mercury between November 5th and the 11th of 2023. So let's get into it. Mercury is in Scorpio between 23 degrees and 2 degrees Sagittarius. So Mercury transits into Sagittarius by the 10th. It'll be fully transited in. What does this mean? Well, Mercury is much more comfortable in Sagittarius. It really is. Everything is heavy in Scorpio. And while Scorpios, there's a lot to dig up. In a way, it's like there's a lot to dig up. Like, let's get nosy before we can get gossipy. That's exactly what it is. It's like we're going to dig up the shit, and then we're going to talk about it. Because Mercury in Sagittarius is very social. It's very chatty. In fact, it likes to chat with people who are intentionally different from it, because it likes to gain information. It's a very learning kind of Mercury as well. Growth and expansion. Think of it that way. So this is a great time to pick up a foreign language. when Mercury is in Sagittarius. Now, for you guys, it is a particularly interesting situation because it means that Mercury will eventually be in direct opposition to to one of your natal suns, because Gemini and Sagittarius sit directly opposite from each other on the zodiac wheel. Geminis focus in on the specifics, on details, and Sagittarians are broad spectrum, sort of zoomed out aerial perspective energy. So Mercury is really learning how to see things from a different perspective and taking an interest in putting yourself in a different perspective. So this is a very curious time. This is a social time, very much so. Lots of interesting chats should be happening, Gemini, with people that are quite different from you but could offer you a lot to learn. So like I said, especially for you guys, great time to pick up a foreign language and talk about the dirt, dish the dirt. Could be very gossipy at this point as well. What is aspecting Mercury all week? Well, big time. It's square to Saturn all week long. It's sextile to Pluto all week long. And through the 9th of this week, it is in opposition to Uranus. So especially in the beginning of this week, quite impactful breakthroughs, understandings, discoveries, and conversations. Like shit is going to fly out of your mouth that can make or break a situation, and you don't even know where the fucking came from. That kind of energy. It is also sextile Venus all week long. You know what the hell that means? That means, hot damn, you are going to be able to articulate yourself so sweetly and so gracefully and so eloquently that everybody's going to be listening to you. Could also be very flirtatious energy, which is really fun and nice. And by the 8th, Mercury is going to be says a square to Chiron. And at that point, this really starts to bring up some things that have been said in the past that could have very much hurt or still wound. There's a trine to Neptune all week long, which, let me say this. Mercury trine to Neptune, sextile Venus, that's music. It's so beautiful and graceful and eloquent. If you guys aren't composing or singing, or if you have any problems or issues, turn on your tunes and actually use your voice. It'll bring you back into balance this week. This is really just gorgeous energy. If I saw this in a natal chart, I'd be like, this person is a musician or they're a poet. There's some very musical, lyrical talent here with regards to how they can express themselves. So this is a really, really lovely week to express yourself creatively, but especially because Mercury is involved. It's measured. It's measured because remember, Mercury is pragmatic. Mercury rules Gemini. It does have a sense of intellect and logic to it at all times, but you combine that in trine to Neptune and sextile to Venus, there's not anything. This is like #1 hit energy. Like there's nothing that you're not going to be able to express in a way that people not only understand, but want to hear. So this is beautiful energy for Mercury. I love it. I wrote down a little note. Let me share it with you. What we haven't said, what we didn't get a chance to say, this could be nostalgia when you put everything all together, especially after the 8th with that quincunx to Chiron. Some things may finally come out, especially through the 9th. Yeah, because Mercury doesn't transit into Sagittarius until the 10th. So ultimately, up to the 10th, this could be a beautiful, wonderful time to actually express all the things that you have not gotten a chance to say, because, oh my God, will you have the words and the rhythm to be able to communicate that. It's going to be quite beautiful energy, actually. So let's get into the decans, shall we, Gemini? If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Gemini, you guys are Gemini 1s. This correlates to Gemini birthdays pretty much in May. So May 22nd through the 31st. That would be you guys. Your natal suns are cusps all week long, but natal suns pretty much are trine to Venus this week. It's going to give you a grace, an elegance, and an attractiveness about your energy and an ease with your sensuality, and maybe even an ease in your checkbook that's going to really help out. There's a square to Saturn, which is long term. So there has been a lot of headbutting or feeling of being restricted or not being able to be yourself out loud or headbutting with certain establishments. This is all year long, though. We have an opposition to Mercury. See, the cuspers, it'll start on the 7th. All of you, your natal suns will be in at least a loose opposition, at least a 9 to 10 degree orb of Mercury, opposition of Mercury by the 10th. So by the end of this week, guys, you're going to be in opposition to Mercury, even though Mercury, your natal suns are going to be in opposition to Mercury, even though Mercury is really working in your favor. This could just mean there's a lot of excitability here. There's a lot that you've got to say, and you guys in particular, the end of this week into next will not get a chance to not say something. It'll be most out of your control end of this week into the beginning, middle of next week, where you will just say things, all the things that need to be said or the information that maybe you didn't even want to hear. It will come out. Whenever there's any kind of an opposition to Mercury, I don't recommend signing important paperwork. This is a more learning and discovery period for you guys. And it could be quite revolutionary. Revelationary. The cuspers, those of you who are on the Gemini Taurus cusp. Is it Taurus? Yeah. You guys have a square to Pluto. If you're right there on like May 22nd, 23rd, you guys, your natal suns are square to Pluto. This is just going to have, let me tell you, holy shit. Everybody's going to listen to what you say. Your words are going to go far, and they're going to leave a really lasting impression. So for better or worse, maybe try to conduct that energy in the for better way. Let's move on to Gemini 2. If you know your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees, Gemini, that's you guys. This correlates to an estimated birthday range of June 1st through the 11th. Your natal sun's not really interacting with anything this week right now. There's a long-term sextile to Chiron, which brings inspiration because of hardships that you've gone through, inspiration to motivation in your life, opportunities that open up, kind of like in the Slumdog Millionaire way, like everything bad that's happened to you creates these opportunities that end up, you wouldn't have known them if you hadn't been through the challenges that you went through. And then the quincunx, your natal suns are going to be quincunx to the sun conjunct Mars. This is really like spur in the side kind of energy. There's motivation here to push you forward, maybe even discomfort or maybe even some body aches to remind you that you need to get certain shit done, FYI. Then we move on to Gemini 3. So if you know your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees, Gemini, that's you guys. This correlates to birthdays around the 12th through the 22nd of June. There's a lot happening with you guys this week. There's a sextile to the North Node, which means opportunities coming when you take more charge of your life. Conscious energy, consciousness, conscious decision making, interacting out loud with your life will bring opportunities and even smooth things over from the past, because there is a trine to the South Node. There's a square to Venus and a square to Neptune. So you guys sit right on the opposite side of Sagittarius, where there is a square, because Venus and Neptune are in opposition all this week, which can lead to quite deceptive energy. This will create challenges for you, especially dealing with other people who just won't wake up or won't see or won't hear. You might be trying to talk to somebody who is under the impression of a delusion, and you don't get anywhere with that. Quite a lot of challenges when it comes to distractibility or fantasies, especially in love and relationships and money. So not the easiest week really when it comes to communications or when it comes to situations of the heart. There could be a lot of clashes there. We also have a trine to Saturn, which is, of course, also could serve as a lot of inspiration for you guys to get creative or be creative, because this friction pushes you to have to be creative. So you might be the songwriters this week. We have a trine to Saturn, which means that you will be able to put things into a logical order. You will be able to put things into a fine methodology that makes sense. Take on leadership, responsibilities, and goals when it comes to your career will go easily or with more ease. And that's over the course of this year. It may not be specifically this week, but it is over the course of this year. And since Mercury is square to Saturn, and your natal suns are trine it to Saturn, there is a lot of activation around speaking or discussing or talking about things that you'd promised from the past, or obligations or contracts that you've signed. This could be a good time to learn about them, review them, or it might require that you do so. There's a quincunx to Pluto, which is long term, meaning that change and metamorphosis is going to be a big old pain in the side, but it can't be ignored, and you might be the disruptor, Gemini 3s, pushing other people to make these changes, like Socrates' gadfly. Just keep nipping at people until they get shit done, and they will. And then we have this quincunx with Mars through the 10th, so most of this week, that's going to be energy that kind of like pushes you forward even when you don't want to be, like that kind of energy where you wish you could sleep in but you can't, that kind of energy that kind of frustrates and agitates. So FYI, this could try to almost spur you into maybe making rash or impulsive decisions, or piss you off to the point where you have some angry outbursts. It's really, really important with those kind of energies to make sure to self-love and self-care and have strategies to calm yourself down or to ground yourself. Literal grounding is putting your feet to the dirt, to the floor, to the sand. This is quite necessary, as well as because you're an air sign. Meditation and breath work will help you as well. The simplest one is, before you react, to exhale and count to 10, or hold your breath for 10 and then exhale. It just helps to center your mind before you burst. FYI, guys, I love you. And if you really enjoyed this energy, then please go ahead and share it. And then subscribe to this channel. Please, please, please make sure that you do. And give us a big thumbs up. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the videos. Okay, so let's go on to Cancer. Cancerians, what am I saying here? Cancerians, what's going on in Cancer? Well, nothing. There's nothing going on in Cancer. Nope, nothing big, not even the moon. But there is a lot going on with the moon. So I'm going to give you a day-by-day, play-by-play. The moon is moving between Leo and Scorpio this week. The moon on the 5th, where we begin this week, is going to be, this is a big day. It's going to be square to Uranus, square to Mars, and square to Mercury all at once, while it is simultaneously trine to Chiron and trine to the North Node and sextile to the South Node. Can you say, holy shit, if there's going to be some spontaneous energy or spontaneous decisions or spontaneous outbursts that kind of drive you crazy or get you really angry, including with either some bad news, not bad news, the way you speak, because there's a square to Mercury too, miscommunications, I gotta tell you, this is going to be a shit show of a day. Surprising emotions, taking things, this is a day of self-care. In fact, if I could lock all Cancerians away on this day, I would, because you will take things wrong and even take actions that are impulsive and perhaps stupid. So really, really, really ground yourself on this day. The trine to Chiron may just make you ease into a little bit too much into your old wounds and old injuries, and the trine to the North Node can make you a little bit too easy with where you're being pulled. Ultimately, this is a challenging energy. You do want your future. You do want to improve on a situation, but I would say impulsivity is quite high that day on the 5th. So all Cancerians everywhere know that the moon and your emotions are going to kind of be out of whack. I think a lot can surprise you here, and a lot of information can create a lot of spontaneous energy that could surprise you and really fuck you up as well. Just an FYI. And then on the 6th, we have the moon moving into Virgo, where it is in opposition to Saturn. Suddenly it gets slowed down and it gets held accountable for its behavior. So, yep, instantaneous karma. If you fuck around, you're going to find out by the next day. And then we have on the 7th, the moon is going to sextile the sun, so there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. By the 8th, the moon is going to conjunct Venus, trine Pluto, and sextile to Mercury. It's going to be in opposition to Neptune, trine Uranus, semi-square the sun, conjunct Mars. This could actually be a pretty powerful day for revelations or for losing yourself in dreams and being very dreamy, droopy, and romantic. Spontaneous hookups can happen on this day. Being attracted to what's outside of your norm. And with that semi-square to a sun conjunct Mars, you could just feel cocky enough to act upon it. Once again, also very romantic, but spontaneous and challenging energy that day. Trine to Pluto, there could be some, it's almost like you might take action to ease, be more extreme, to ease a feeling or ease an emotion. So I would say impulsivity runs high that day too. Watch out for the 8th. The 8th is a pretty challenging day. Remember, I mentioned it back in the big stuff. You know, I talk about how there is that day, right? The sun is conjunct to Mars, semi-square to Venus, conjunct the moon. So while Mercury is trine to Neptune and square to Saturn and sextile Pluto, Neptune's in opposition to Venus and the moon. This is a real fantasy day. This is a real fantasy day where fantasies can absolutely warp the way you're seeing things and fuck you up. This is not a good day to, the sun is also in opposition to Jupiter and Uranus at the same time, while it is semi-square to Venus conjunct the moon. And listen, this is not the greatest day for making important decisions. This is definitely a day where you will be highly distracted and prone to being vulnerable to buying bullshit. I would lock myself away on that day too because of the moon's interaction, but we'll see how it's going to impact you guys specifically. Ultimately, I get a little weary on this. What was I going to say? With the moon where it is, guys, in opposition to Neptune, that is, tired. You might feel very tired on that day. And I would say sleep. I think honestly, that's your best way out. Just fucking sleep. Just fucking sleep, because the dreams will be off the hook. And what comes to you in your psychic realm of dreams will be the clearest. If you're out and about, you're going to get in nothing but trouble. If you're feeling tired on that day, let yourself rest, let yourself sleep, and keep a dream journal. Keep tabs on it, because those are some real communications that have come through. But it is a pretty kind of cray-cray day as well. We move on to the 9th, where the moon will trine Pluto and sextile to Mercury and semi-square, still be semi-square the sun conjunct Mars. The moon is going to be in Libra at this time. It's also going to be square to Uranus. Anytime the moon and Uranus get together, there's just shit that is like Dennis the Menace level craziness. Like you're just going to be howling at the moon. Like, you will express your emotions in the weirdest ways. You will react to things in the weirdest ways. And basically all this week, the moon is interacting with Uranus. You're going to even surprise yourself and not make any sense. So, oh my God. I would say, listen, warn people ahead of time. Please don't take me serious this fucking week. Like, just don't do it. And then on the 10th, the moon is in opposition to Chiron and conjunct the south node. There's a lot of old shit that's going to come up then. A lot of emotional stuff from the past that caused you a great deal of injury and sadness, if not physical injury itself, because Chiron is in Aries, like hurt, or like not wanting people to hurt the way you've hurt, like those kind of things. That will be a pretty challenging day as well. And then on 11/11, the moon will enter Scorpio and be in opposition to Jupiter and the north node. This will definitely be when your future starts to frustrate you, and you know what? That's good. Let it frustrate you. Let it shake you awake and shake you out of this fucking fantasy, crazy-ass dream world you've been living in. That's when all of a sudden the shit hits the fan, because it gets real. Like, reality comes in and it's like, let it. Welcome in the discomfort, because you need to be reminded of where you're headed, not where you've been. And the moon is too much on the side of the south node right now, and you get lost in the past and the craziness. Move forward. That is, even though it's agitating you, good. Thank God that it is, because it's shaking you awake. So Cancerians, if you are, let's get into the decans. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Cancer, you are a Cancer 1. This correlates to Cancerian birthdays between June 22nd and July 1st. In and around those dates, your natal suns are square to Venus. This is going to be a shit show of a fucking week for you, especially on the goddamn 5th. I would lock yourself away. Semi-square to Neptune, especially if you're at the cusps. Deception. Stick to the rules. Sextile to Jupiter and trine to Saturn. That trine to Saturn is going to be your saving grace. Stick to the rules, stick to the job, stick to what you know, and stick to tradition. Sextile to Jupiter is also very expansive, lots of opportunities, especially career opportunities. But this square to Venus, square to Neptune is going to fuck you up. It's going to fuck up your romantic relationships. It's going to fuck up your finances. Finances are going to make you desperate when it comes to romance. Oh my God. Focus on what you know. Focus on your career. Focus on what you decided before this crazy ass fucking week started. Like, it is very important this week for you guys to just, honestly, there's a lot of deception there, and you're going to misinterpret a lot of conversations. This is going to throw you off, especially on the 5th and definitely on the 8th. Guys, stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Okay. Let's move on to Cancer 2s. We have, okay, so this, if your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Cancer, you guys are Cancer 2s. This correlates to Cancerian birthdays between, say, July 2nd and the 11th. So your natal suns are in a long-term square to Chiron. Good, because that is kind of humbling energy right now, and you need it. It can make you feel a little bit bad about yourself, but ultimately it is humbling. You have a trine to Mars through the 9th. You have a trine to the sun all week long, which means, yes, a trine to that Mars-Sun conjunction. A lot of ease with movement. Energy is high. Feeling really good about your physical self. Confident. Listen, because it's so split, I split it up for you. If you are born around the 2nd or 3rd of July, your natal suns are still sextile to Jupiter, even though Jupiter has retrograded back to 9 degrees Taurus, and it's technically sextile to Cancer 1s. It doesn't matter. Your natal suns are close enough. It's still sextile to Jupiter. I wrote this down. And if you are born on July 9th, 10th, or 11th, your natal suns are sextile to Uranus, because Uranus is at 21 degrees. So at the very, very beginning of the 3rd decan. Sextile to Uranus just means independence, having it become really easy to be independent, to be clever, to be unique, to feel your own uniqueness and claim your own identity. Sextile July 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th. A sextile to Jupiter is a lot of optimism and people just feeling very optimistic about you. Ultimately, if you're born in the middle of that, you're not really being that affected by either of those sextiles, or you could be affected by both of them. This is a big week for movement forward. With that trine to Mars, the sun conjunct Mars, this could be a lot of movement or progress that's made, confidence and execution up through the 9th. So it could be quite a progressive day. Definitely high energy, good week to get into your body to calm your mind. Let's move on. Let's move on to Cancer 3s. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Cancer, you guys are Cancer 3s. This correlates to Cancer birthdays between July 12th and the 22nd of July. Your natal suns are the ones in opposition to Pluto. So there's a game-changing time in your life. This is definitely a turning point in your life, in your character, in your nature. You know, extreme differences you'll start to notice in yourself, especially because you are also simultaneously square the nodes, which means you will find yourself liking and being interested in the direct opposite of what used to attract you or feel comfortable to you. We also have a sextile to Uranus, as well as a sextile to Venus through the 8th. Lots of surprises when it comes to who you're attracted to, maybe even surprise romance or surprise flirting. Maybe some good surprises and breakthroughs will come with that money. And then we have a trine to Mercury all week long, which is eloquence in speech with that sextile to Venus. Oh my God, this is a beautiful time for you to communicate. It's just absolutely gorgeous. If you're out there dating, this is a good week to date. Could also be good news when it comes to balancing out that checkbook. We also have by the 10th, so the last 2 days of this week, your natal suns will also be trine to Mars. Guys, this is beautiful energy. This is really being impactful when you speak, being heard, listened to. Sexuality, virility, flirtatiousness is very high. This could be a very fun, energized and opportunity-filled week for you, especially your natal suns are in a long-term trine to Neptune, high in creativity, high in dreaminess, high in openness, and a big mystery. You'll be especially attractive to fucking Scorpios during this time. You guys, all I can say is you're going to have a lot of gravity and a lot of magnetism to your character this week. You use it right, and you're going to make some huge breakthroughs. So, challenging week, most especially for Cancer 1s with relationships and finances and getting all kinds of fucked up. Watch yourself, especially on the 5th and the 8th. For those of you in Cancer 3s, pretty nice week. Yeah, lots of opportunities. And there could be beautiful opportunities for Cancer 2s as well. Especially if you, like I said, get into your body and use that energy and allow yourself to go motivated. There could be a lot of progress that you guys make. You guys let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this a big old thumbs up and share it with people you know would love it too. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the videos. All right, Leo, did you check out your reading? I hope you did. Check out your tarot card reading. I just posted it. But I hope you guys will check it out. What's going on with Leo? Nothing. There's really nothing big going on in Leo right now. But what's going on with the sun? Well, lots. The sun is in Scorpio. It's going to be in the second decan of Scorpio all week. It's transiting from 13 degrees to 19 degrees. Beautiful. We have a conjunction to Mars all week long, making the sun super, super powered and confident and virile, and a lot of energy that comes from that conjunction. More risk-taking, could even mean that injuries ensue a lot more, but generally speaking, really, really powerful, impactful energy. In opposition to Jupiter through the 8th, you're going to take things to the fucking extreme. Like Evel Knievel fucking extreme for you guys. Through the 8th especially, whether it's for better or worse, you will take it all the way. You will blow shit up bigger than it has to be. And then we have an opposition to Uranus from the 9th forward, which will ground you a little bit, but make it more specifically about, I want to be seen for who I am, and if you're not, I'm going to pop off at you, right? I want my independence. I want my freedom. As I'm also interested in interesting and new, strange things. I can't see, there's major motivation here. That's coming from that energy. We have a semi-square to Venus all week long, which means that there is a kind of needle point poking you. Something's constantly poking you when it comes to finances or what you desire or what you long for. Something is trying to get your attention. And then on the 11th, the sun is going to be trine to Neptune, which is really interesting. It's very creative. This is actually really beautiful energy. It's about sort of bringing light to dreams and being able to shape them. This is beautiful creative energy. On the 8th, the sun is conjunct to Mars. It is in opposition to both Uranus and Jupiter at the same time, and it is semi-square to Venus as the moon conjuncts her. This is a shit show of a rambunctious day. This is a time when things will really be taken out of proportion, and oh my God, a craziness could ensue. For you guys, I think it'll be more fun and more progressive than it will be for Cancerians. But if it ain't a shit show, I'd be very surprised. FYI, that day could be breakthroughs. You know, you could take big, huge leaps forward. Also, surprising injuries can happen. So it's a shit show of a day. I just, it's going to be fun to watch. That's all I'm saying. Something could push you to make a surprise or take a surprise action or decision. And that if that something is, the impetus or the catalyst is going to be sensitivity around love or value systems or money. That's the 8th. So let's go into the decans, shall we? If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Leo, your natal suns are, so that's birthdays between, basically July Leos, between July 22nd through July 31st. Your natal suns are sextile to Venus. This is sexy and passionate energy. It is progressive in that you'll be very confident. It is also very glamorous and attractive. Great time to date and flirt and express yourself. This is very attractive energy. We have a square to Jupiter, so there will definitely be high hopes and expectations and optimism forward. And with that quincunx to Saturn, you will not necessarily want to be playing by the rules. It will agitate you, or some sort of restrictions will agitate you to the point of being a little rebellious and overindulgent when it comes to those pleasures in life. Wine, fine wine, food. It could be a very indulgent and like you frustrated me into I'm just going to go out and enjoy myself kind of energy. Then we move on to Leo 2s. So we have, okay, so your natal suns are in the second decan of Leo if they are between 10 and 19 degrees Leo. This correlates to Leo birthdays August 1st through 11th. So, or about there. Your natal suns are semi-square to Venus all week, which means that value systems, what you value, what you desire, what you're attracted to, money, could actually be agitating you or spurring you into action. Your natal suns are square to the sun conjunction to Mars, square to the sun all week, square to the sun, square to the Mars through the 9th. So especially in the beginning of this week, shit show. And higher risk of injury, yep. Higher risk of anger and spontaneous and risky behavior, yep. Check both those boxes. This is, it could also be breakthrough energy too, right? I don't want to say it's all bad. I don't think it is. It's just there's higher levels of energy and conflict here. Your natal suns are also trying to Chiron, so that's actually grounding energy. This sense of yourself based on injuries from the past, which could actually save you from acting like a complete ass this week. And I'm just going to be honest. Then we have, if you were born August 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, your natal suns are square to Jupiter. If your birthday is the 9th, 10th, or 11th of August, your natal suns are square to Uranus. If you're somewhere in between there, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, you might be square to both of them or square to none of them. You might not be feeling this energy at all. But for those of you who are square to Jupiter, you're going to take things to a fucking extreme, right? You will push yourself to a point where you may break yourself. So just FYI, be aware of that kind of spontaneity this week, or just pushing yourself too far, or promising too much, promising with your ego instead of your intellect and proven knowledge. And then those of you whose natal suns are square to Uranus, lots of surprises and a demand for independence. And anything will get your goat that makes you feel like you're being restricted, or that other people are dictating you, or expectations, or things could get really boring for you, which could agitate and frustrate you a lot this week. FYI. So this could be a pretty challenging week that really challenges, am I happy with what I have? Do I appreciate it? Am I grateful for it? Is it really me? Those questions will come up a lot this week. Could be a lot of frustration when it comes to sexual tension or sexual relationships and energy, FYI. And then we have Leo 3s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Leo, you guys are Leo 3s. This correlates to Leo birthdays at so from August 12th through the 22nd of August. Your natal suns are sextile to the South Node. Opportunities coming out of the past or your natural talents, and trine to the North Node. This is really kind of awesome energy, actually. Trine to the North Node. Because it's basically saying it's a turning point in your life where you'll get more comfortable with where your life is headed instead of where you've been. Your natal suns are square to Mercury all week long, which means don't sign any important paperwork this week. Don't take any tests. If you have to give a majorly big, important presentation, interview, audition, whatever it is, put it off till next week, because this is a Mercury retrograde. The communications will just go haywire. It's not Mercury retrograde, but it will feel like it for you guys. That's what Mercury square your natal sun usually feels like your own mini Mercury retrograde. Then we have a square. Your sun is going to be square to Mars through basically the 10th, or the end of this week. Once again, guys, this could be very impulsive energy, angry energy, especially with a square to Mercury too, pop-off-ish energy. Just stuff. Oh, no, I'm sorry. By the 10th. I'm sorry. So on the 10th, your natal sun's square to Mercury. So definitely the 10th and 11th of this week, just fucking try to shut your mouth. All week long, your natal suns are going to be square to Mercury, but especially those 2 days, oh my God, it's much more likely for you to be pop-off-ish and angry with how you communicate with people. So try to count to 10 before you release whatever you want to say. Your natal suns are square to Uranus. That's a long-term square, which means they're just proclaiming their independence, and they're going to get really bored really quickly. This is, really bored really quickly. This sense of really wanting to just get agitated. Like, I want to step into my own self and try new things. And that's long-term. That's over the next year or so. We have a long-term quincunx to Neptune, which is your fantasies are going to frustrate you, which means it can also very much distract you. Try not to believe them too much or believe in them too little. Try to find a creative outlet. And then we have, if you're born at the Leo Virgo cusps, your natal suns are in opposition to opposition to Saturn. So this is also going to exacerbate that long-term square to Uranus. This is just you guys feeling too restricted and too put upon, or too many expectations from past generations, father figures, authority figures. It's like, blah, 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 shut the fuck up. I want to be myself. There's a lot of rebellion in your energy for the next year and a half, 2 years. FYI. You let me know in the comments below how this energy is impacting you guys. And I hope this kind of clarified some of the energy you're experiencing right now, Leos. If you really like this energy, like this reading, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to share it with people you know would love it too. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe now. And I will see you guys in the videos. Virgo. All right, Virgo. What is going on in the zodiac sign of Virgo? Good question. Venus is in Virgo through the 8th of this week. So she is in the third decan between 27 and 29 degrees Virgo. She will then transit into Libra fully by the 9th. And we also have the moon visiting Virgo between the 6th and the 8th. So between the 6th and the 8th, all your natal suns will conjunct the moon at one point. So, Virgo 3s, There's going to be a shit show on the 8th when your natal suns are conjunct both the moon and Venus and in opposition to Neptune. Watch out for the 8th, guys, because that day is going to be a fucking shit show. It's going to be creative. It's going to be lost in your fantasy. It's going to be major expose. It's going to be a lot, and you guys are at ground zero. Virgo, 3s, especially those of you born on the Libra cusp. Just an FYI. So what is Mercury up to? Let's go over it, shall we? So Mercury is in Scorpio. It is going to transit into Sagittarius. By the 10th, it'll be fully into Sag. I compare this to digging up dirt and then gossiping about it, because when Mercury goes into Sagittarius, it gets very chatty, it gets very social, and it likes to learn. It likes to learn from different things. You just have this voracious ache for foreign cultures and languages and different people. Much more social, much more chatty, much more fun, also much more impulsive with what comes out of your mouth. Mercury in Sagittarius, I mean, listen, Sagittarius is already known to run its mouth like crazy without thinking. So your words may become a little more sort of in control of you over the next 3 weeks or so. Or once it transits into Sagittarius by the 10th. Until then, Mercury is still in Scorpio. So you will be digging, and you will be learning, and you will be digging further. Deep thoughts, deep conversations, psychic communications, as well as just really deep, sometimes more on the dark side conversations. They shouldn't surprise you with Mercury and Scorpio. Mercury is also, all week long, it is square to Saturn and sextile to Pluto, taking shit to the extreme, an extreme sense of I am tired of being restricted. We need to change shit. Information that could change things or force things to be changed by challenging the norm. In opposition to Uranus is going to persist through the 9th, which is I want to rebel. I don't want to do things the same way. I see things differently. I'm going to point them out to you. Lots of conflicts with authority. And then a sextile to Venus, as well as by the 8th, says a square to Chiron and a trine to Neptune. What we haven't said yet, what we didn't get a chance to say, this will come out, especially because Mercury's in Scorpio for most of this week. That kind of stuff, that kind of nostalgic, oh, I can't let this situation control me, I have to take control of it. Saying what needs to be said, or realizations that we've needed to have. Real conflict here between what we've made promises to and what we know is right for us now. So, Virgos, let's break things down into the decans. If you know your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Virgo, you guys are in your natal suns are in the first decan of Virgo. So this correlates to birthdays basically in August Virgos, August 22nd through the 31st. That would be you guys. Your natal suns are going to be conjunct the moon on the 6th and in opposition to Saturn on the 6th. This is troubling energy. Moon in opposition to Saturn, it makes you feel like I don't have a right to feel. And it also puts you in a lot of conflict with mother-father energy. This can be troubling. This could be power struggles. This could be just, a lot of family shit coming up on the 6th. Your natal suns all week long are in opposition to Saturn. They are all week long, or through the 7th, trine to Jupiter, and then square to Mercury all week long. Not the best time for you guys to be, depending on communications. There's a lot of miscommunications that could come in. If you're waiting on important paperwork, don't sign it now. Don't read a lot of shit or believe what you read at this point. Like, when you guys are in opposition to Mercury, especially with Mercury being so kind of cuckoo and crazy, this could be the time when a lot of stuff from the past really does come out. Because you're sick of not having said it or felt like you couldn't talk about things, especially on the 6th, the 8th, and the 5th. These are really emotional and challenging days where information and conversations could really surprise you. Let's go on to Virgo. Don't sign any important paperwork, take any important tests, or anything like that with your natal sun square to Mercury all week. Just an FYI. Okay, let's go on to Virgo 2s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Virgo, you guys are Virgo 2s. This correlates to birthdays in September between, say, September 1st and the 11th. So your natal suns are conjunct the moon on the 7th. You're in a much better position than Virgo 1s when it comes to the moon. This could actually just be an emotionally calming day for you, because that's usually what happens. But for you guys, that's what will happen. A calming day, a day where you'll really be able to get your emotions, just feel really good about you in general. Not so much in the self-esteem, but more of a tranquil kind of way. Then we have your natal suns all week long are sextile to the sun. This gives you a lot of confidence, a lot of creativity, a lot of charisma that could open doors for you. Your natal suns are going to be sextile to Mars as well through the 10th. This conjunction to the sextile to the sun conjunct Mars is going to give you a lot of power and a lot of energy. And yes, for you guys, take fucking risks. Put yourself out there. They will fucking work out for you. In fact, I think you'll have more confidence, and you'll be like, who the fuck is this? This is me. This is you this week. You will make breakthroughs this week. If you were born around September 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, your natal suns are trine to Jupiter. If you were born around September 9th, 10th, 11th, your natal suns are trine to Uranus. This is all about expansion or growth. With Uranus, it is about asserting your independence and individuality and thinking way outside the box. Very clever, very beautiful energy. And then with the trine to Jupiter, this is optimism and good fortune. So really just expansive and growing energy. And you're all your natal suns have this long-term quincunx to Chiron, which is kind of like this little spur in your side. Based on, could be old injuries actually acting up, or just old challenges, stuff that you've been through, kind of keeping you humble. This is a great fucking week for you guys. There's a lot of breakthroughs that can be had. This is energy that you will definitely be able to use and wield to potency and productivity. I really like this energy for you this week. Let's go on to Virgo 3s. If you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Virgo, you guys are Virgo 3s. This correlates to Virgo birthdays between September 12th and the 22nd of September, so right up to that Libra cusp. Your natal suns are conjunct the moon on the 8th, and oh my God, if they ain't a fucking shit show. So we have a conjunction to the moon, while the moon is conjunct to Venus, while your natal suns are conjunct to Venus, all of this is happening in opposition to Neptune. Your natal suns are sextile to Mercury all week long. There's information coming out that is game-changing for you. Powerful information and powerful, almost like powerful talent and skills that come out. Very musical. You could write a fucking #1 hit on this day. I'm not even kidding you. Listen up, Beyonce and Pink, because both y'all bitches are Virgos. 100%, this is the day when that shit is just going to spit out of you. I'm not kidding. And then we have sextile to Mars through the 10th, or by the 10th. So toward the end of the week, you get a power pack that's added. You get more energy that's added. You get more confidence and assertiveness. And oh my God, will you cut people down with your words on that day? You think you normally do it? You're going to be a killer. You're going to be a killer with words this day. It's definitely time to get in there and do legal shit. Write those fucking contracts. Be heard by a judge, because you will win. And then you have a long-term trine to Uranus and trine to Pluto, which is, there's dynamic changes that are happening. You are the disruptor. Disruptive energy, disruptive ideas especially. You don't want things to stay the same. You don't want yourself to stay the same. So this is a big breakthrough, maybe with the new version of you. And then we have quincunx to Saturn. So you will be the thorn in the side of the establishment, especially on these days. Stick it to them, Virgo 3s. Stick it to them. Fuck them. Do it. I love you guys so much. Please remember to like this video and share it with people that you think would enjoy it too. Feel free to leave your comments below. I'd love to know how this energy is impacting you. And Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the videos. Bye, guys.